I'm sure you had it, that the prospect tells you, I need to speak to my wife, or I need to speak to my boss, or it's not a good time of the year, right? Having an objection to overcome. Now, the good thing about this is that if you've never had that, that means you never sold anything, because it is part of the natural process any buyer has to go through. That's right, they actually have to say no. Now, in this video, you're going to find out how to answer to that. And there's hundreds of different ways how to do that. But this one here is simple, and it works for every single objection. Doesn't matter what they say, you can use this. And that's why it's so powerful that the Wolf of Wall Street has been using that very successfully over the last 30 years. Now, before we go there, why do you actually need to handle objections? Well, you name it, right? Because certainty doesn't come from 0 to 100. It needs to be built up. And most people have to say no before they can say yes. Now, if you only remember one thing from this video, what do you think it's going to be? It's going to be what to say and how to say it. That is right. Wait for that. It's going to come up. But before we go there, Jordan Belfort, when he had this eureka moment, when he realized this is how sales really works at the core, this is what he came up with. And he had a meeting with his associates that evening, and he told them, every objection is the same. They said, how come every objection is the same? It's like so many different ones. We get hit with hundreds of different objections. He said, no, it is only showing they are not certain enough. And that's why it doesn't matter so much what you say here. You don't have to handle their specific objection, at least not in the beginning. But first you can, and here it comes, you can deflect it. That's right, you do not answer the objection specifically, you're actually deflecting it and doing something that allows you to do 5 separate things. And that's why it's so powerful. What are those 5 things? Well, first of all, they can say no. Almost every buyer needs to say no before they can say yes. Second of all, it allows you to show your confidence about the product. And they need that. They need to be able to trust you. They need to be able that you are there for them. Almost like boyfriend and girlfriend going through tough times, telling each other, it's all gonna be good. We're gonna get through this. It shows confidence into that is the right product. I'm the right person. We can do this together. And guess what you're doing by that? And that is number 3. You're building more rapport. That's right. So you've hopefully built rapport, but right now, the difficult time, right? You've just asked them for the order. This is when the objection usually comes in. And right now, you're building stronger rapport rather than them just getting a way out. And then, even more important, number 4, they say yes. I will show you why they say yes. They will say yes to something, maybe not yet to the product, but they will say yes to something. And that is what you need to build your case further. And finally, number 5, it allows you to understand their buying temperature. It allows you to understand how close they are and where you need to lead them in order to make this decision. Now, are you ready? And if you've taken the module on closing, you're already familiar with this. But it's important to hammer down on it. So here is how the deflection technique goes. They give you an objection. I need to speak to so-and-so. Now is not a good time of the year. What are you going to say? You're going to say, I hear what you're saying, but let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? They're going to say, yeah, the idea makes sense. They're most likely going to say that, right? In almost all the cases, unless they're on the completely wrong product, they will say, yes, it makes sense. And at that moment, you listen very carefully because they're going to say right now, yeah, it makes sense, or yeah, it makes sense, or yes, or nah, it doesn't really make sense. And you're going to listen and basically decide on a scale from 1 to 10, where are they right now? Because they might be saying, yeah, it makes sense. And that doesn't sound like they're almost ready to buy, right? So right now, what you do in that case is you pace them. Remember, pace, lead. The technique of building rapport, that's what you're doing here. And pacing here means you jump into the same slightly more enthusiastic tonality than them. So if they answer with a 5, yeah, it makes sense. You're not going to be saying, yes, exactly. It really is a great product. No. you're going to say, yeah, exactly. It really is a great product. And then from there, you paste them again. In fact, one of the true beauties here is that, you see, yeah, it really is a great product. In fact, one of the true beauties here is that. So you pace, and you lead. And by that, you're building stronger rapport, and you're leading now into your presentation again. You're presenting the product again, the service, yourself, and the company. So once again, this needs to sink in. No matter what they say, you say, I hear what you're saying, what you say, but let me ask you a question. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? The emphasis here is the idea. You're not trying to sell them anything, you just want to know, does the idea make sense to you? And yeah, they're going to say, yes, it does. And again, they're going to say, oh yeah, it makes sense. That was more enthusiastic than earlier. Maybe that earlier was a 5, maybe that was more like a 7, right? What do you do now? Well, you jump in much more enthusiastic. Yeah, exactly. It really is a great product. In fact, one of the true beauties here is that, you see the difference? I want you to stop whatever you're doing. Maybe you've been listening to this video on the side. Stop watching Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, whatever, on the side. Take your piece of paper right now. Write down those words. And then take your phone and video record yourself. Maybe let somebody say, yeah, it is a good product. Let somebody give you an objection, or if not, you just give it to yourself, and then you record yourself answering it. This needs to be perfect. So while so many other things in the sales process can go a bit wrong, as long as you're getting the main idea, this one here has to sink in perfectly. The way how you say it, this tonality of, does the idea make sense to you? It's almost, I really want to know. I'm just interested. It's not about selling. It's the I really want to know tonality. Try that out right now. I really want to know. Say it with me. I really want to know. Does the idea make sense to you? Do you like the idea? Yeah, I really want to know. Think about like you actually really want to know something, because you're going to have the right tonality. And then you listen carefully to how they say it. Again, go back to this video here when I tell you in different ways. Yeah, it makes sense. And decide for yourself, what is that? Is that close to a 10? Is it close to a 5? Wherever it is. They will only buy if they're reasonably certain. So for most people, that will be 8, a 9, or a 10. Maybe for some a 7. But usually they only buy when they're very close to being a 10, or to perceiving your product, yourself, and your company as a 10. And that is why you're looping them back into the presentation, and you're going to make sure that you raise their certainty. Make sense? If it does, take your phone right now and then meet me in the next video.